The Steinhoff corruption scandal is back under the spotlight as the main culprit has failed to appear in a German court. Almost a year after yesterday's court date was announced, Markus Jooste was a no-show, and now prosecutors are seeking an arrest warrant. His legal counsel told the presiding officer that this is due to him having handed over his passport to South African authorities, a claim that has been denied by local authorities. A new court date is said to be decided in a few weeks for the man linked to falsified accounting records, which resulted in up to 200 billion rand share value losses. Author James Brent Stein says it remains to be seen whether Jooste will appear or not.
I don't think he was ever going to be in Germany. I doubt if we'd see him go there unless an extradition process should be started. And we know how those have been going lately, if you just look at the Gupta. So whether he'll actually appear in court remains to be seen. Even if he did appear in court today, the worst that could have happened, I understand, is a fine. He's one of his the co-accused today, I think, paid a fine of 600,000 rand. That's about 30,000 euros, if my math is correct. So it's peanuts in the greater scheme of things, and then the matter is behind you. Alternatively, a 3-year prison term. So, you know, the worst that could happen to Markus Jooste, even if he goes to Germany and appears in court, is not really massive in the greater scheme of things.
We expand on this matter with Chief Investment Officer at Benguela Global Fund Managers, Zwelakhe Mnguni, who joins us on the line. Zwelakhe, thank you so much for making this time. The biggest question really now is whether Markus Jooste will appear before any court, be it in Germany or South Africa.
Yeah, good morning, Commissioner. I think I am a little concerned that he may unlikely not appear anywhere. And the reason is that if you listen to the stories that are being published yesterday, was that the police in South Africa seem to be saying that they're waiting for the trial in Germany to complete before they can proceed with theirs. I'm not sure if that is a process that could work. I mean, if he didn't attend the trial in Germany, how is the trial in South Africa going to be prosecuted if they're waiting for him to be prosecuted in Germany first? So I think it's an uncomfortable reality that he might be able to get away with it. The rest of us should be extremely disappointed.
Absolutely, that would be a disappointment. But let's also talk about what German authorities have that warrant a prosecution, which South Africa is not at a stage to do.
Yeah, I mean, remember the story is that the original charges were around the tax evasion in Germany. And then they followed that up with accounting fraud. When they audited the tax account, they found that there were some tax transactions that appeared to be fraudulent to basically avoid tax. So I think as a result of that, they then proceeded to put the case towards a trial. And in South Africa, I think we're far behind. I mean, we had a PwC report that confirmed that there's a $7.4 billion fraud in the Steinhoff account. I cannot see why we cannot take that evidence and basically prosecute on the basis of that evidence. I know that it's not that straightforward, but I think knowing where to look makes a big difference versus where you don't know at all where to look. And I just find it frustrating, and I am in touch from time to time with the police, and they've been promising that the case is ongoing, but I don't seem to be getting a clear cut of when is it going to go to trial.
What does this case mean for financial crimes in South Africa and the dealing thereof? Because for quite some time, it is usually the state that is criticized for not dealing with corruption within government structures. But when we look at the private sector, you have a big case such as Steinhoff, and not much has been done. The needle has hardly moved. Look,
it would mean that the corporate crimes will never go punished because the guys can litigate for a very long time. it would mean that we're getting into an environment where there is crime with impunity in South Africa, especially in the private sector. Even in the public sector, I think we are seeing that there are some cases that have made progress, the smaller cases, but the big cases are not making progress. I think you can also draw a line or a link between what is happening in the Thabo Bester situation and the Steinhoff situation, in that it all exposes to some extent the incompetence of the police service to actually investigate and take crimes to court and successfully prosecute them. I think it's quite a big indictment on the country, on the police, and the state of affairs in our country. So it's very, very, very demoralizing.
Like, it's also important to go back to those who have been affected by the Steinhoff corruption, especially if we look at the Public Investment Corporation and who the asset manager really represents.
Yeah, I think those people have lost out, and the truth is, it doesn't look like there'll be any retribution. But the people who've lost out, I mean, are the public servants. They are the cleaners. They are the office people in the Department of Home Affairs. These are people who have no way of recovering that money on their own. And I think it's a very disappointing point. I mean, the money has been lost, over 100 billion has been lost, and nobody gets held accountable. I think it's shocking.
Let me be cheeky here, Zwelakhe. Where do you think Markus Jooste is?
In Hermanos.
We'll leave it there. That's Zwelakhe Mnguni, Chief Investment Officer at Benguela Global Fund Managers, as we get reaction to Markus Jooste's no-show at a German court for the corruption charges that he faces there.